Welcome back to the Wealth Back. Today we're talking about something a little bit different, but in a good way. We're talking about my relatively new hobby and investment in numismatics, the art and the study of coins. I'm always exploring new ways to build wealth, protect assets, and enjoy the process along the way. But this one, I started purely out of curiosity and turned into a little bit more than just a hobby. So I wanted to share what pulled me in, what I've been learning, and why this hobby has real value beyond the collector's high, and how it unexpectedly ties to a bigger theme of wealth building. Let's fill your pocket. My curiosity started when I was younger, collecting coins, but didn't really understand it or got into it, and it faded pretty fast. And more recently, around the beginning of the year, I saw a random video where you can still find silver coins in change. And in that moment, I went to the bank and asked for coins. And to my luck, I actually found four silver coins in my first roll, which fueled it, to be honest. If I didn't find anything at the first try, I probably would have been pretty discouraged to actually continue this hobby. And that's when I started to realize that this wasn't just a random piece of metal. It felt like a piece of history that still stored value in it. And holding it felt different than other investments. And I started collecting mainly Mexican silvers from silver and gold libertads and coins that were used as legal tender in the 18 and 1900s. Also, graded slabs from NGC and PCGS, gold and silver monopoly coins, like real ones, not just fake ones, silver coins from countries all over the world, and a lot of Alcambi bars. And the crazy part is that I started to get better at eyeballing prices based on weight or coin value. I also started to study coins under a microscope to get an idea of what would land on the grading scale. And to me, it felt like discovering treasure in plain sight in everyday products that everyone exchanges coins. And numismatics share similar characteristics to all their alternative assets like Pokemon cards and other collectibles. They mainly strive from scarcity that is the foundation of most collectible markets: coins, Pokemon cards, sports cars, comics, and all of the above. But coins bring a little bit different feeling, like knowing how they were minted in some cases. Because some coins exist in the tens of millions in like modern pieces, modern coins, quarters. Others exist in thousands, like limited mintages and special releases. And some exist in the hundreds or fewer, especially older pieces that survive centuries of circulation, melting, and world events. And this is where it hits a bit different than Pokemon cards. With cards, scarcity is manufactured. The companies decide how many booster boxes get printed, how they create chase cards, and how to engineer rarity. Coins, on the other hand, earn their rarity through time, history, production limits, and pure survival. Mintages can be low, not because someone wanted them scarce, but because the world wars, silver was scarce, governments changed, and mints closed. When you realize there might have been a handful of perfectly preserved examples left on the planet, it's a little different scarcity as is created by reality. And a coin can be increasingly scarce, but if there's no demand, the price sits flat. But the moment collectors, countries, or even online communities fall in love with a design, a year, or a mint, the prices shift fast. And just like Pokemon cards, part of the market is driven by fandom, nostalgia, community hype, long term collector interest, influence, and market leaders, trends, and attention cycles. Pokemon cards can spike because a wave of collectors decide a specific set is nostalgic. Sports cards can jump because an athlete became a legend. Coins can do the same, except demand can also be fueled by things like national pride, the value of the metal itself, historical significance, new discoveries, changes in world silver supply or gold supply, and generational interest. So demand can come from fans in the same way Pokemon does. Sometimes an entire nation loves the design. Sometimes collectors worldwide chase a certain rarity. Sometimes there is new appreciation for coins that had just passed a couple of years. Demand in coin collecting can be emotional, but also logical. And there's something very different about coins. It's that they they have intrinsic value. Pokemon cards have value because people agree that they have value. They're fully collectible. Coins, on the other hand, can have their value based on pure collectability, but also can be commodity backed. If you're holding bullion like Mexican Libertads, American Eagles, or Canadian Maple Leafs, your baseline of the price is the metal that the coin is made from, which in this case, most of them are made of silver. Even if the collectible premium disappears, the physical gold or silver still holds its value. When silver rises, your coin rises with it. When gold strengthens, your collection does the same because of its inherent value. So it's not purely based on speculation whether the coin will become more desired, but it also has a built in hedge. You're holding something that the world has valued for thousands of years, so it's not likely to go to zero, and it's not all dependent on hype or nostalgia. No matter what happens, 1 ounce of silver is still 1 ounce of silver. Pokemon cards can lose their value if the hobby shifts or artificial demand. Coins, on the other hand, have a floor, a hard floor, the intrinsic one, that makes them both collectible and wealth preserving assets. And the two do share common things like condition. Two coins can have the same mint year, same press, but can have wildly different values depending on grading, from a mint state 69 versus a mint state 70. And this is the scale that is from genuine, which is the lowest at practically a zero, to a 70, which is a perfect coin. And a 70 is equivalent to like a gem 10 on a Pokemon card. And there's tiny differences that can affect the value. It can double, triple it, or even 10 times the value itself compared to other coins that are almost exactly the same. And it's the same concept as a PSA 9 versus a PSA 10 for a Pokemon card. The only few things, only one tiny flaw, a scratch, a surface mark, or a slightly different strike can completely change the value in it. And coins have a little extra twist. A mint state 70 graded coin from hundreds of years ago is like finding an original holographic Charizard that somehow got a PSA 10 after being in circulation in binders, in shoeboxes, and in direct sunlight for decades. It's almost impossible. And the older the coin, the rarer higher grade coins exist. Because time attacks everything. The metal corrodes, edges wear, strikes fade. So a high condition older coin really brings in a higher premium that might not match. That is tough to match in other hobbies. And this leads into the other anchor of numismatics, something cards can rarely compete with. It's that they have historical importance. It's not just a coin. It's not just a coin for collecting. It's more of a timestamp, a physical reminder of wars, political shifts, economic collapses, monarchies, revolutions, artistic eras, mining technologies, and even cultural identity. A Pokemon card has nostalgia tied to it from childhood and fandom. A coin has a history tied to a civilization or an era. A coin holds meaning beyond the collector. A Roman silver deniers isn't just silver, it's an artifact from the empire. A 1982 Mexican Libertad isn't just bullion, it's the start of a national icon. Historical significance gives coins a depth that extends beyond its value, and it gives them generational purpose. And coins don't behave like stocks. They don't move every minute and practically won't ever moon overnight. And sure, some coins do spike up in value, just like Pokemon cards that get rediscovered, but that isn't really typical. Coins build value through scarcity, through time, silver and gold content, its history, and collectors' interests. But coins also bring an experience with them. You can look at them, you inspect the details, you learn their story, you enjoy them both as an object and an investment. And then eventually, whether you plan it or not, your hobby becomes a part of your portfolio, your collection becomes a store of value, and your safe becomes a vault of history and wealth. Coins might not skyrocket like meme investments, but they grow slowly over time. And in a world where everything is compared to Bitcoin, coins are one of the oldest and most reliable analog versions to store value. And it mattered to me because numismatics taught me to slow down a bit and made me appreciate the value of history and to learn from my mom's home country of Mexico. Because we live in a world that moves at insane speeds. Everything's digital, instant, and disposable. Coins, they did the opposite. There are random coins that you come across shows, and unlike digital assets where you can just look up every possible asset to invest in one moment, to me it felt like treasure hunting at these shows. You also get to hold something that's passed through hands of people who've lived before you, economies that no longer exist, and decisions that shape national currencies. It reminded me that wealth isn't just numbers on the screen. And honestly, someone who spent a lot of time thinking about wealth, investing, financial strategy, this habit, this hobby brought me a sense of joy. I kind of expected but never really took the chance until recently. So if you've never looked into numismatics, I'm not telling you to go out and drop thousands of dollars and start hunting down rare pieces like you're about to raid Fort Knox. That's not the point. The point is really to start with just one coin. Maybe it means some to you from the year you were born, from the home country of your parents or yourself, places you've traveled, or simply designs that look amazing and catch your eye. Even just getting a silver piece just for its weight, to feel it in your hand and appreciate it. And then you could do something simple just by looking up its history, find out why it was minted, what happened, and why it's no longer in circulation. You start to understand how money evolved, how nations express pride through their currency, and how precious metals shape their entire economy. Even if you never become a collector, that one experience might change the way you see the money around you, to appreciate the craftsmanship, to think about the time value and legacy of the coin, to people who lived hundreds of years before you, even though the coin still looks fairly new and clean. And you might be shocked if you enjoy it, because numismatic traps you into something rare today. People spend hundreds collecting digital items like me. Meanwhile, you could spend $20, $30, $40 on a coin to hold. So try it once, not for the investment, not for the potential increase in its value, but to spark more curiosity and wanting to learn more about it. That one coin might start a passion you didn't even know you had, and it might become your next hobby or just a cool piece on your desk to remind you something, that history that had passed beyond you right in front of your eyes. Either way, it's worth taking the first step because numismatics isn't just a collection. It's history, value, patience, curiosity, and enjoyment of blending all that together. And for me, it became a new chapter in my personal growth and wealth journey. So if you're like me, always open to exploring and learning new ways about wealth, this might be something that you might want to look into. Until next time.